Hello, 1, 2, test, test. 1, 2, 3, 4. How about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Greetings to you, RP. Can any of you hear me now? Let me type it. Sound okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for telling me. It's a good thing that I had to look at the chat because I would have been flowing for I don't know how long in vain. So let me just start over again. Those of you who have been there since the beginning have noticed that there is some intro that I have, a couple of videos as an intro, and there's this beautiful overlay, or as some others might call it, this beautiful template that was made by a good brother of mine that I actually met through what I'm doing one day walking in Paris. He recognized me, and we've been in touch ever since. And he's the one who made that logo for me here at my Art Forever, the red, black, and green wings. So without me asking anything, he made that previous logo that I showed you, and without me asking anything, he sent me this beautiful overlay. And he went down to details, because here next to my name here, Shakandugu Kemet, this is actually here, this is my face. This is the shape of my face for my profile picture on my YouTube account, where you see me with the Sphinx behind. So it's a very nice setup, looks professional. I love it. You have, for those who don't know, the YouTube account here, which is my Art Forever. Here is the website address, and here is the Twitter. Make sure that you follow me on Twitter. This way you will be notified when I'm going live, because some of you don't get the notification. After all, there are 16,600 subscribers now, so it's no surprise that maybe a few don't get notified. And for those who wish to support, you have the PayPal link here. Okay. Now that intro, you can see me in the Louvre Museum. That goes way back. That's years ago, during one of the museum tour that I did. And I used to actually do museum tours free of charge. That was back then. And I eventually stopped the day when nobody showed up. If at least one person would show up, I would do it. But one day I went there, and that day nobody showed up. So that's when I put an end to this. But anyway, feel free to holler and ask your questions, make your statements, whether you agree or disagree. It's a question and answer session, so anything goes. I hope you're doing well, really. I'm chilling. So what's on your mind, brothers and sisters? Let me know. I have uploaded that video that I mentioned about the Palestinians, 1300 BC. To be more precise, it's actually 13300 BC. Oh yes. Syrio-Palestinians from the Louvre Museum. And if you have a look at this video that I have uploaded today, you will see the phenotype. And it's the same phenotype that you can see throughout the video entitled White Semites, Black Awakening. You will find the link in the description box, not only of this video, but most videos. The phenotype is consistent. And lately, as you know, we've had some talks about Black Hebrews, true Hebrews, birthright. No, they were not black. Somebody in the comment section sent a video of someone in the British Museum. There is a relief that is allegedly showing Hebrews or Israelites. I will have to look at the actual description to know for sure how those individuals are labeled. Keep the comments going and I will go through them. Oh, I almost forgot. Here's the link for those who want to join the conversation. Link to join the conversation. Okay, so we need to look at the actual reference to know how those people are labeled. And indeed, they have these little things on their head. Some people think that it is kinky hair, but I have disproven that already. You can just look at my videos, my previous videos. Actually, go on my YouTube account, and if you scroll down, you know you have the menu, videos, community, about. Then you have that search icon. If you click on it, let me share my screen. Some people might not know. Let's see how it looks. Okay. So if I do that, yes. So that's in French, but it doesn't make a big difference. Videos, playlists, community, channels, about. That's where you click. And if you type in kinky, boom, Hebrew captives with kinky hair, question mark. Prince of Lagash, Godia, kinky hair. You can even look at this one called They Lied to You. You will see more about those so-called kinky hair. That being said, and the British Museum is one place that I'm planning of returning to, but not as of now. I have other museums in mind, and for those who are not aware, I have this opportunity, this plan of going to several museums in one trip, and it takes resources, so your donations will be welcome. Please prioritize PayPal, paypal.me/mattforever, as you can see here. And for those who don't know, then I'm sorry, for those who don't want to go the PayPal route, then do whatever floats your boat. If you want to do the super chat, it's on you. Now let me just go through the comments briefly. RP is asking, what is the weather like? Well, it was quite warm today. It had reached 30 degrees Celsius. Now in America, you don't use the Celsius. Just like in Europe, we don't use the Fahrenheit. So if I'm told it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, I won't have an idea of what it's like. 30 degrees Celsius, that's definitely warm. P wrote that it's about to rain in a couple of hours and she works outside. and she said that she will call in 20 minutes, or hopefully someone will call in before. Feel free, everybody's welcome. Let's use these tools that we have in the 21st century. But in the museums where I will go, if I'm supported enough, there will not only be Africa, there will be Asia, the Near East, and we will get even more clarity. So, what's good, brothers and sisters? We don't have many people. Maybe people are partying because it's Saturday. So good, no matter what. If we don't have enough people, if it's too quiet, then we'll call it a day. Let's see how it goes. I'll wait a little while to see if RP can definitely make it. Yesterday, I went through the Hadith, which for those who don't know is Islamic literature. The main Islamic literature after the Quran. And I was dealing with this Black Prophet Muhammad hoax that has been floating for a little while. And you have noticed that not a single person has tried to refute the information put forth. So it is what it is. But we have many people who are wishing so much or so bad the Prophet Muhammad was black that they will be reaching to the fullest extent of the acrobatic and linguistic gymnastic laws. They will be reaching. They have been reaching. We hear it all. There are so many definitions for that word. Abiyad is getting insane. Weak complexion, noble character, black. So many definitions for that word that just simply means white. And you can ask an Arabic speaker. You can ask an Arabic teacher what abiyad means. It's as simple as that. I will not be long. And I am back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, brothers and sisters? On two? Yes, you should hear me. I have that sign there. Now, RP wrote, your visit to the Near East and India is going to be highly intriguing to me. I used to love everything Indian and Bollywood before I started learning about the motherland. Well, just for clarification, I'm not planning on going to the Near East nor India. I'm planning on going to several museums at different locations in Europe. And in those museums, I will go to departments about ancient Egypt and departments about the Near East or the Middle East or the Levant, Mesopotamia, Sumer, Akkad, whatever is available at those particular locations. Maybe we should call this a day. There's no participation. I wasn't really prepared to flow. And when I flow, usually I'm given a topic to flow about. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I will do a tour guide for a brother, and I'm looking forward to it. I always love to share those things. A tour guide in a museum. Now, Sister RP, do you think that you will call in or not? Because really, I'm thinking about ending this live stream, but if you are definitely calling, then I'll wait for your call. Oh, yes. Dan wrote, hello, fam. Don't forget to like the live. Click. I forgot. The likes don't appear on that platform that I use to do the live stream. Okay, I can look at the page there. Let me look on the page. How many likes we have? Well, we won't have many because there's not many people anyway. Only 3 likes. Oh, well, it's all good. It is what it is. Oops. Did you mean to write oops? What should I do, brothers and sisters? Should I call it a day? I can be back tomorrow. I was thinking about dealing with Bible contradictions for tomorrow. But we'll see. It's very quiet. It is what it is. I'm not tripping. It stays like that. But I hope you're doing well. Okay, RP is going to call in 10 minutes. No problem. No problem, sister. I'll wait. Okay. Let me share the screen. I'll go like that. Go like that. Now that's the profile picture that I told you about here, and that's what you see. Okay, not like this. That's what you see here. That's what you see here, right there. As promised, I have uploaded the audio of Professor Griff talking smack about John Henry Clark, so everybody can listen to it. And as I said, I will do also. I've shared the phenotype of Amenhotep III, and it's worth having a look. Okay, that's just the advert. Okay, let's go like this. Amenhotep III. This is Akhenaten's father. Got the hair. Look at the lips. Look at the color. But they love to show you depictions from the late period. Same here. Look at the hair. Look at the lips. Look at the nose. Amenophis III, that's Amenhotep III. 18th dynasty. Still him. Amenhotep III. And here as well. Look at the phenotype. Look at the lips. Look at the nose. But here, if you look at the phenotype, it's not the same thing, is it? This is late period here. My wife wrote, "Hey RP, thank you for supporting my husband. I appreciate. Be blessed." Don't forget, brothers and sisters, that there is a playlist for the Medu Nature, and it's there. When you are on my account, you just scroll down, or if you wish, you can just click on playlist here, and there it is, Medu Nature. And when you click, it will appear, and to go to the next videos, it's on the right. I don't know if you can see it. Yes, you can see it. It's on the right there. So you can learn quite a lot just from that playlist alone. See, that's funny because I was already at the on the Merenptah Stela. There was an article in French National Geographic where they talk about that so-called Israel Stela, which is really the Merenptah Stela. And they were saying, they were clarifying that it is not talking about a place, but about some people. But that article was still of the belief or persuasion that this was talking indeed about Israelites, when it's not the case. Actually, our sister has called in. Greetings, sister. How you doing?
Hi, Hotep, everybody. How's it
Hotep,
going?
sister. It's all right. Everything's all good. And you? How about yourself?
It's hot. It's hot and it's gonna rain, which is great because I'm gonna be
Yes.
like overheated and wet pretty soon. But it is what it is. Yeah.
Thank you for
Um.
calling in.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Uh, oh, I need to back up. Yeah. So you were actually a tour guide, you're saying?
No, I wasn't a tour guide, but I was just doing tours because
Oh, okay.
I kind of know about this culture. I've been studying it for a while, and I know the Louvre Museum very well.
Okay.
Um, so many people don't know that we have so many artifacts over there. So I would invite people. I would send text messages and let people know, okay, on that day, I'm making a visit. I'm doing a tour. Actually, in the Louvre Museum, it used to be
Mm-hmm.
free of charge to enter every first Sunday of the month. So that's when I would just make sure to send a message to as many contacts as I have to let them know, okay, if you're not doing anything, then there's this visit that is free of charge and so on. Give them the time and the date. And recently, before the COVID-19, they have changed. It's no longer free every first Sunday of the month, but half of the year. It is still the first Sunday of the month, but not the whole year through, but only half of the year. But now that we have the COVID, it has reopened recently. Actually, has the Louvre Museum has reopened on July 6th, and there is no longer any mention of the entry fee of charge on the first Sundays of the month, even half of the year. And that's understandable. They've lost so much money already.
Yeah. And then I know prices for everything just about is going up too because they're gonna add in the cost of buying these antivirals or the cleaning
Yes,
solutions that's necessary. So yeah, it makes sense.
indeed,
Um,
indeed.
well, at
It
least
used
it's
to be
still
nine
around
euros
and
back then.
available.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Go
Yes.
ahead.
No, no, it's okay. I was just going to say you're right with the price. It used to be 9 euros or 9.50 years ago, and then later on, I made a little tour for one brother, and I realized that it was maybe 12 euros or something. And now the brother yesterday, when he bought his ticket for that tour, that for that visit that we do for him, it's
Mhm.
17 euros. So it's almost double the price that it used to be. Now I can understand because of the COVID situation, the money that they've lost, and indeed also all those um, chemicals, all those measures because of the COVID.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? There's a radio broadcast, not station, but I don't know what to call it. I guess it is a broadcast station, National Public Radio, otherwise NPR, and they had a reporter do some research and go to a couple restaurants where they were asking the people about how well they were actually cleaning up or keeping up with cleanup because they're like this one restaurant, they have a log where they're supposed to sign off that I've cleaned whatever area at this time. And so the woman that was interviewed said, honestly, we're not keeping up. She was like, we were basically told by the manager, like, yeah, we're supposed to be cleaning up and signing these logs for OSHA and everything, but do what you can do and just make sure it gets signed. And I've been in situations like that, working in like the healthcare industry, not a hospital, but like a facility. I've seen with my own eyes things not get done. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering how, I'm not trying to, go too far in the deep or whatever, but I'm just wondering like if they're charging this much more and if part of the justification is going to be, well, we got to clean up. Like, I wonder how much of it is actually legitimately going to be done.
Mhm. Yes, you have to wonder. But when it comes to the Louvre Museum, since it is one of the largest museum in the world, and apparently the most visited museums in the world. I don't think they would try to take any chances.
Yeah.
Yes, I really don't think they would take any chances because if we hear that people who visited the place ended up being sick, that it was what they call a cluster in French. In French,
Mm.
um, that would be such a bad look because
Yeah.
I don't want to say that it's empty, but of course there's a lot less people than usual the last few times that I went. So, but
Okay.
indeed, there is the rules on paper, but do people really apply it? Then not often. And it's not only regarding this COVID-19 situation, but it's regarding most things overall, even in the legal system. A lot
Yeah.
of times, when things go wrong, that we realize that things were not on point. There might be a plane accident, and then we found out that some things were wrong with the plane, and they knew about it, but they didn't do anything about it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that might actually be more, unfortunately, not completely, but like more of an American characteristic to like not do something like you're supposed to, or to wait to the last minute knowing you got like you said, like with the Boeings and everything, they knew something was wrong with the planes well before there was an accident, and it was like they just kept pushing it off until there was a mishap, so
Mm.
I'm kind of guessing maybe there'll be more of instances like that, sadly, here than there, because yeah, like Europe and the Asian countries seem to be way more serious about making sure it doesn't spread, you know, or at least that things surfaces and places aren't contaminated as much.
Mm. Well, Trump, it looks like Trump did not take the issue serious, but
Mm-mm.
now America is the place where we have the most cases of the
Mm-hmm.
COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's not going to end anytime soon. I mean, but really, people in charge when it comes to the U.S. government, it looks like things were not done as they should have. But when you have a president that doesn't take the issue that seriously, then it's not surprising. However, when it comes to the population, the whole world have seen the carelessness, the parties, the
Mm-hmm.
lack of social distancing, the lack of mask wearing. Every day, I see videos of people arguing or fighting because someone refused to wear a mask. And it went as far as COVID parties. That kills me. I mean, you go to a party and the name is COVID party. It's just weird. It's just weird.
um I'm gonna say something that's probably not gonna shock many people, including you, but okay. Americans in general are cultivated not to be that smart. Um, and I'm a so-called American, but at the same time, I must admit, I mean, I think just based on the fact that I'm having this conversation with you on your channel shows that I probably think a little more than most.
Mm.
But when it comes to, I want to say like the white people, like they really feel like you shouldn't tell me what to do at any time, any place, for any reason. And
Yeah.
I've seen those people go as far as like jumping up, like this woman jumped up, ran up on the door and started licking it. And I was like, Is this like Resident Evil? Like she looked like a zombie for
Yeah.
real. And I'm like, she got something. Cause if you run up on the door and start licking it, Another woman ran up on a baby and coughed on them.
I've seen that.
I keep saying, I said it in the other call. Psychotic. I said that. But with the other people, like black people or Hispanic people, whatever, I'm sorry to say it, a lot of times we follow the leader. So they're like, if they're already one of those conservatives type black people or Hispanics or whatever, they're gonna follow behind the trend set for them sometimes. And then two, I will say this in regard to non-white black people. We have been lied to so much, tested on with things, some of us don't know what to believe. I admit that I was like, wait, hold up. And I would sit there and think about it like, okay, so now y'all got COVID because what, like AIDS didn't work fast enough or something? But at the same time, I still was like, okay, if y'all are saying that there's a disease out here, a respiratory disease, I shouldn't take a chance either way. I need to wear a glove if I'm in, not a glove, a mask if I'm in contact with other people. And then certain times I will have gloves too, because I work for like an app where we do little snack deliveries or whatever. And some of
Okay.
these doorknobs on GP are dirty. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you want me to turn this door and leave this, so you gotta take precaution. But I'd still have a little bit of like leeriness as to maybe how many people might actually have it versus how many people don't. But I'm not gonna take a chance. But like overall, American society is programmed to not be, very analytical or logical, and we're very emotional people. And if we feel like you disrespecting us or trouncing on our freedoms, it's gonna be a thing. And that's why we seeing it. And then the rebelliousness, like with people having the parties and stuff, I think that was also like people looking at it as an opportunity to take advantage of certain locations like Florida, places that are so called vacation and nice, like, well, nobody's there. Let's all go. And they went, and now they're going back to their respective places sick.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But
But
unfortunately,
I'm sorry,
yes, yeah, no, no, it's
my
okay. Go
bad.
ahead, sister. Go ahead. No problem. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say before Donald Trump had to encounter this illness, he put a lot of people in his cabinet that already didn't believe in like even global warming, didn't believe in
Yes,
pollution. So this was bound to happen. The,
yes.
the Department of Education secretary was asked by some lady on CNN, "What's the plan if there's an outbreak?" She was like, "Basically, y'all could Google what to do." Like she was like, "What you want me
Clueless.
to say? This is public school." I was like, "Damn, my son is not going back." Yeah.
Absolutely clueless. And it's a shame. I mean, first it was Italy that was the after China, Italy was the most affected place. And now America is the most affected place worldwide. And it looks like it's the beginning.
Yeah. I personally have been taking multivitamins for a while. Thank God. Like I went through an ordeal with my skin because I used to live in the South and now I live in the Midwest, which is kind of north. So I wasn't getting enough vitamin D. And then I also had to take some other stuff. So then I was like, you know what? Let me just make sure all my levels at all times are right. So I went vegan. I take like a multivitamin for women. I take colloidal silver. And I know some people say, oh, that's for people that are conspiracy theorists or whatever, but they've done studies to show that colloidal silver can raise your immunity greatly. But it's not the end all be all. Um, and I also, as a matter of fact, I put this in my water bottle. This is oh, there we go. It's oil of oregano. It's spicy as heck. Like you put a few drops. So I mixed it in my water and I'm drinking on it as I go. Like, it's not an unpleasant taste. It's just direct oregano taste, but that is also good for like making you your immunity raise. And I was trying to get a sore throat like last year, like a little bit of a sore throat. I just put a couple drops in my mouth directly, it burned it out. So I
Mhm.
try to do a lot to maintain homeostasis on my own, because I already know. I don't know how it is in France with the healthcare system, but if you don't have insurance, you're going to receive the most subpar or mediocre at best care. And then you're at the mercy of people who, they're either overwhelmed or, unfortunately, there's a lot of a medical apartheid in America. There's studies that show if you go to a doctor and it's not a black doctor, you're going to be treated a certain kind of way. So we really, part of practicing my art, like I said, we got to focus on ourselves. We don't want to leave our bodies, our destinies, our minds, nothing at the mercy of people who, for one reason or another, don't align with us. You know, and that's my way of doing it too, by making sure I take care of my health. Because like I said, in France, y'all might not have that. Might not be the case. Y'all might be able to go to the doctor and be okay, but that's not the case in America, and not even for veterans. Because I'm a veteran, I made that known. The VA is crap. It's crap here in America. So I don't even try to go there if I don't have to.
Yes, America is very famous for having a very um, unfavorable health system, and in France, indeed, for the most part, people are able to seek medical health um, without blowing up their savings, their life savings. And I'm glad you mentioned medical apartheid because that book is very good. Back when I had a book section on my website, it was listed as one of the recommended books, and this is very important. Do you have your sound off, sister?
Yeah, I mute every now
Oh,
and then to
okay.
make sure that I'm not doing too much.
Okay, all right, sister. Yes,
Yeah.
but it's a good thing to look after your health. I also went the vegan route, but I would say vegetarian. Well, in French, when you say vegetarian, it means you don't eat meat, and in France, when we say vegan, that means people who don't even have eggs, anything that has to do with animals. I consume fish. I consume fish, but just not no meat. And what's funny amongst black people, a lot of times when I said that I don't eat meat, they ask me, "You don't even eat chicken?" I say, "Well, that's meat. No, I don't eat chicken." but but
Yeah, yeah. Now, okay, let me go back a little bit. Every now and then I eat seafood. Look, I'm from the South. I like fish. I like shrimp, but I try not to do certain bottom feeders a lot. Like even though I will eat some shrimp, I don't really eat catfish anymore. Like, and then two, it's starting to taste weird, like really fishy. So I definitely don't do farm raised fish. So I get it wild caught, and some stuff you just can't argue is good for you, like salmon, you know. But for the most part, yeah, no meat at all. But it's that training. When I was in fourth grade, I remember being exposed to the so-called food pyramid. At the top of the pyramid, in the apex, the smallest part was like fat and sugars, right? Then the next biggest part was fruits and vegetables. And then, now mind you, the pyramid is broken up into quadrants. So after fruits and vegetables, coming after junk food, right? The biggest thing was like, other biggest thing was like meat and dairy. And then the very last thing, the base of the egg of the triangle was bread and grains. And I we learned that. That was drilled in our heads.
Yeah.
Um I'm trying to think how many years went by before they actually changed the pyramid. They took the pyramid away, I want to say like maybe my freshman year of high school, and then they added a caveat about at least getting 10 minutes of activity a day. Then that went up to 30, and then they kind of admitted like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't eat that much meat. And but then, to show you how silly we're trained, in the late 90s, and if there are more people on the live, I can't tell because I'm not in YouTube anymore. But if they can co-sign this or correct me on like the time frame, I think it was like the late 90s. There was a big boom of people only eating protein, and it was called the Atkins diet. So like you would see people literally like just buying nothing but meat, and they were like, it's the new craze. People swear by it. The Atkins diet, then it was the ice cream diet, and then all of a sudden people's hearts started popping. It's like you really thought you could eat like a lion or a tiger. That it kind of simple. I really feel bad because if we could at least admit to what we see in front of us, like things might not be so bad. But like I think that's part of the problem, like with like overall people, but then like black people too in general. Like you said that when you told them, "Oh, you're vegan, you don't eat meat," that the shock of it is like, just pay attention to the people around you. How many people around you diabetic? How many people around you need dialysis? Like, so how do you keep concluding this is a healthy way to eat and be?
I agree. I agree. Nowadays, doctors, well, at least in France, they recommend that people don't eat meat more than twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, because of the way people eat, they end up with so many illnesses, so many ailments. And diabetes amongst black people is something very, very rampant. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame. I mean, even if people don't go the vegetarian route, at least if they will be more careful about their eating habits, then their health will be much better. And I'm not even talking about the drinking and all sorts of drugs and tobacco. When think of someone, I'm sorry, consuming tobacco, drug, alcohol, and eating badly, with a lot of junk food, no wonder a lot of people just don't last long. And even money wise, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
help for saving. That's a lot of money spent, particularly the tobacco, and for some, the alcohol, for those who are alcoholics. But it is what it is. What can we do? What can we say? People are the master of their own destiny. It's just a shame that people will consume things that says that it kills. Now, I'm not sure in America, but in England, they do write on cigarette packs that smoking kills.
They write warnings, and the warnings are small. They're not. I don't know if it's your, y'all put the skull and bones on it, right? Or somewhere I
On
saw
the
they had a
cigarette.
pack of cigarettes. Hmm.
Oh, well, I'm not sure they do that here, but I know that when I was living in England, they will put the pictures of the inside of the throat, like the throat cancer and stuff. I mean, to deter
Yeah.
people from consuming and the right smoking kills and stuff like that. Now, maybe in France they also write smoking kills, but I'm not really sure. But
Mhm.
the skull and bones, I haven't seen it myself, but I wouldn't be surprised that they would put a sign to say that there's a danger of death
Yeah.
on it. I mean,
Yeah.
they have to, because really, it's so harmful in the long run. It's so harmful.
Yeah. Like in America, they have it on the side of the box. It'll say warning. This product has been shown to cause cancer. Da 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 da. And then they'll even have like a special warning because California has like they're supposedly like more strict about things. So they'll have maybe even sometimes like both warnings or whatever, um, like the general in California. But it's so small, it's so nondescript. And then like, they're cheap. That's another thing. They're steady in movies. Like if they were serious, if the government was serious about making smoking, for instance, since we on that, like a something that they know we're trying to curb, like they wouldn't allow it to be filmed, and you know what I'm saying. So many references visually that people get where they when they see the cigarettes or whatever, it's they're a little bit more softened up to it and everything. And then like in America, from what I've witnessed, I don't know about other people. Maybe their child goes to Montessori or these Waldorf schools where they're able to do more. But I have been a substitute teacher for a while actually. And I do some other like artistic work. So when I'm in between doing artistic work, um, I was substituting basically full time. These kids don't learn nutrition. They don't learn like health. If they get health in some of the classes, it's mostly about like this is the parts of your body and this is what this system does, and it's like right quick, this is what a STD is, and this is what hygiene is. But if you
Very
ask a
basic.
child like, yeah, if you ask a child like a teenager rather, why do you need to stay hydrated, like what's the function of this particular organ, or what happens when you eat this type of food, whether it be junk food or real food, they can't tell you. I've had to bring I blew up a nutrition facts chart, and I literally broke down to the kids how to read it because they didn't understand that the big number that you see is actually a serving of the total number, and you have to read like 200 calories, and then it says per serving 6 servings. They just throw in the box or whatever in their face, eating 1,200 or 1,800 of whatever. So that's their daily take. But then you go down and you read the cholesterol values, the sugar values, the this, the that. Then you get to the ingredients. And I had told the kids, like monosodium glutamate, MSG, will excite your brain's nerves to death. And some of the kids, like, I won't lie, that programming, some of them like, I don't care, I like it, I'm gonna eat it. But then I'd have
Yeah.
a couple kids say, a couple of them be like, well, Miss P, why in the world are they selling this then? And I would say that's a good question. They value money over your health.
Yes.
And then some of the kids were like, I'm not messing with it no more. So I was glad that me and whoever else in the United States who's did this with me did it, but it don't get taught. If we don't intentionally do it at home or find a way in the school system to get it said, it's not getting said.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And um, it's really weird indeed how we were trained when it comes to health. The things that they have been teaching us is good for our health, and milk is a big issue. A big issue.
Hmm.
Now in America, we always used to see on TV, on different shows, that they actually give milk at school. And in France, that's not something that they normally do. Even though I've been to one school where you at the canteen, you could just go to that fountain that will provide milk, but that's the only school that I know of that was doing that. But the milk is such a huge issue, and sometimes it's strange because there are things that we do when we used to. I used to consume meat when I was young, but later on I ended up stopping, like some other things, after reading about it and so on. But that simple saying that many people have told before, humans are the only people or species that
Yeah.
drinks the milk of another species. And that saying, even though many people said it before, when you think about it, you're like, it's really true. It's really true. A cow would not
Hmm.
take any beverage that comes out of a woman's breast. I mean,
Right.
it's I mean, and that's one of the reasons I really liked Laila Africa, because I have only
Hmm.
read his book called Nutricide, and I loved it.
Hmm.
Um, but his lectures, he makes it
Hmm.
plain.
Yeah.
Even though he has some lectures where he goes into many details because he was very knowledgeable, but he knew how
Hmm.
to make plain statements to let people know this food is not good for you. And he used to put a big
Right.
emphasis on milk and sugar.
Hmm. Yeah. Dr. CB was another one that was getting into like what's more intrinsic to our biology to eat. And a lot of people feel like I do too. That's why they ultimately, did them the way they did them, putting them in prison and everything and letting them die like that. Um,
In
like
prison?
it's just all about. Yeah, I heard that he had died. Dr. CB had died in a Honduran prison. Basically, he got pneumonia.
But I didn't know that
Yeah.
he died in prison.
Like listen, everybody, pardon me if that's not true. I had read it somewhere real
Okay.
quick, and I never had time to get back into it.
Uh,
But I was like, they was like, yeah, Dr. CB had died. He was like in being held in a like a prison or jail in Honduras, and I'm not surprised
oh,
because Honduras, has a lot of they got a lot of conflict going on there. So I was like, that's him doing the work he did. I wouldn't be surprised if they did imprison him for a while, and he was still older, and passing away as an older person in inhospitable, conditions or whatever. But yeah, so many people are warning us about it. And I mean, we know, like I said, if you just look around, everybody around you got some kind of cancer or some kind of illness. Or with kids, a lot of times the way illness manifests first is in their brain. Because I have seen children, I've had a child come up to me one time, I think he was like sixth grade. He was just going, like literally bouncing, bouncing. And I said, "What did you eat this morning?" He said, "I had la 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 and chips and da 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 da." I said, "Oh my God, child, you need to detox. I need to find you an apple and some water right now." And then I was like, "Listen, just go fill up your stomach with water and try to like concentrate as best as you can." And he did that, and he came back. He's like, I just can't sit down. And a lot of the kids are going to show that deficit first in their intellect, and just simple things like maybe their motor skills. They're not able to sit, they can't see. That's a deficit a lot of times. They got to wear glasses. Look at their teeth. Acidity manifests first in the teeth, because like what I learned, I could be incorrect, but what I've learned was that when your body is starting to run out of those hard minerals, it's going to get it from your teeth first, because it'll let your teeth go away before it'll let your arm or your leg break. And a lot of kids, they have that presentation of acidity and deficits in the teeth and in their behavior and their learning. So we got to pay attention to that. We got to care a little more. It's easy for adults to get caught up in their own stuff, but you can't. I think somebody said it was Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said that when If you play around with sex, the joke is on the offspring. That's real stuff. Like you gotta really, really plan, have your plan together with your spouse on how we gonna raise this child, what do we believe in, what do we eat, where are we living, and who are we gonna let teach these kids?
Yeah, that's true. It's true. In the
Yeah.
meantime, I had a quick look, and indeed, I wasn't aware, but Dr. Sabi was in custody. At least he was actually detained, and he felt ill, and he was transported to a hospital. So that particular detail I did not know about. I did not know about. Uh, there might be that documentary about Dr. Sabi coming out soon. Um, I personally am not sure about the AIDS being cured claim. But besides that, I've heard him a few times, and overall, the advices that he was given in terms of nutrition are similar to people who are vegetarian and uh, advising individuals to refrain from consuming harmful things, mainly the meal, the sugar, and things. And Dr. Sebi used to put a big emphasis on mucus. He used to say that mucus is the basically the cause of all diseases and so on. But the AIDS issue, the AIDS debate, that's like I don't know what to make of it. Some people have been dinging about the actual trial or charges against him because some people say that he actually won a trial, but that goes way back anyway. I did not read any transcript or I don't have the details about that, but personally, I'm not convinced at all. I never was when it comes to the AIDS being cured. But besides that, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe about AIDS in general. The cure part, who knows? It's possible he may have cured one particular person. Like I guess, chemistry, especially when it comes to like food and herbs and this and that. I guess if you find the right combination for that person, you could cure him of just about anything. I've also heard about a man, last name Rife,
Hmm.
Rife, that had a machine that they said the United States actually allowed him to conduct research on so many people. It was like a dozen people who had terminal cancer, different cancers. And his machine was a frequency machine that basically hooked up to the person, shook the mess out of the cancer cells, basically, and that he was able to cure them. But because it was so effective, they basically took his machines, bankrupted him, made him sound like a quack, and then he died penniless. But then you can now get the machine, but it's like really expensive. Then you also have to pay for the frequency list. So I'm saying that to say I guess Dr. CB could have cured someone particularly, but like everybody probably not. But then the issue I have personally is a disease that literally starts off as a disease among gay, needle sharing white men in the Los Angeles. Okay, that's where it really began. Called grid at first. All of a sudden in the 90s, like totally invades the black community and jumps continents to
And ends up
Africa.
in
I find
Africa,
that
yes.
interesting.
And then it's
Yeah.
because of that monkey that they were consuming, and because of that, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to make out of it. But with Zabi, it was not the claim of AIDS being cured all only, but basically
Mhm.
everything, any disease. But I'll leave it to other people to have
Yeah.
that discussion. I would just wanted to express that personally. I'm just not
Yeah.
convinced that he was curing all
Yeah.
these diseases. Yes. You know what, sister? Just hold on one moment. Let me just go
No, you
through the
good.
comments real quickly. Sodacy said, "Greetings to you, sister." She wrote, "I was wondering. So you only study the history of Africans. So does that mean you don't have as much in-depth information concerning spirituality? Spirituality, um, for a particular culture, unless there is an oral tradition, then is down to some writings. And with Kemet, that's what it has to be. So I'm always down with the facts. So therefore, when it comes to Kemet, down with the text, the records, and indeed, just like for Kemet and many other cultures, a lot of people claim so many things. But when we ask them to substantiate that, um, that's where a lot of time they come up short. But and spirituality in itself is subjective. When that term is used, that word is used. But so how to answer that question? Spirituality, that's another word for religion, even though some people might disagree. There's a difference indeed. But I'm really focusing on the records. Now, hold on. Okay, wife is letting me know that the live stream is not appearing on my channel. She had to refresh the page 5 times before it appeared. Um, so she's saying that maybe that's the reason why we don't have many people. Maybe they are not notified. Maybe it's possible. Now, Darius, what's up to you, brother? He wrote that he's with his mom, so he can't do a video, but he will be in the comments. And he wrote, regarding diet, I like to carry a certain amount of muscle, so I eat a lot of meat, but I really try to control and restrict my carbs. But there are some people who are vegetarians, and yet they still have some muscles. Uh, Now, I'm an expert on nutrition. I'm not a nutritionist. Um, but with the muscles, it appears to me that it's down to protein, and the proteins are not only found in meat. And I think it's a huge misconception because that's one thing that a lot of people used to tell me when I said I don't eat meat. They asked me, where do you get your protein from? And I would say, well, we find proteins in different kind of food. But it's true, however, that it's easier to get the protein from the meat. That's something that appears to be true. But in the long run, is meat good for people? I doubt it. Now, God is divine wrote, we can't translate French in the comments. I don't understand that statement. Duma is in the place to be. He said peace to Shaka and RP. And Duma wrote the same in Canada for daycare and snack program. That's programming into milk that is shown to be, I think he meant to write cancer promoting. And Duma also wrote Dr. Milton Mills break down the milk stuff and the real source of protein. All right. All right.
I wrote that down, Dr. Milton. I haven't heard of Dr. Milton. It's crazy too because so many people say that milk chelates the calcium from the body in order to be processed or digest. So it would be oxymoronic for any health industry or professional if they know that to say drink milk. But then at the same time, if my goal is to get money, off of dental care, off of broken bones, whatever, then yeah, knock it back. Plus the inflammation that's created, like you said, drinking milk from a whole nother species of animal. Like if you were gonna rock with milk, it should be like colostrum from a human, if you really were. But ain't nobody trying to drink breast milk. And then there's so many stories of milk and cows being irradiated a lot now. I don't know how many people on the video keep up or know about Fukushima, but Fukushima was horrible for the planet. Like that radiation spread everywhere. They said it was at least 20 times worse than Chernobyl.
Mm.
So we got animals that are literally, they should have been shot and put into a big old hole. They're not there. You can't do nothing with that milk, but they're still doling it out, California. And then what they do in Japan is so sad because basically the Western world, meaning America and probably Europe, is in Japan's ear telling them how to go about things. They just raised the level of acceptable exposure in the food and whatever else in Japan, and they did it incrementally here too. So it's like, it's not just the food you eat now, it's sourcing. Like if you really not growing the
Mm.
cells yourself, whether it be a chicken, a cow, a sunflower, you at the mercy of whoever decided what's okay and what's not.
Yes, the manufacturers, yes, indeed. But a while back I read that in some places, at some places in America, it's forbidden to grow your own food. And that surprised me. I was wondering, is
Mm.
that true? But I had several reports. I read several reports that were saying that people are not allowed to grow their own food. And that's very scary. That's very scary.
There's a literal, I'm gonna send you the link to this document. It was like put together by the World Health Organization and some other folks. But you could probably, I don't know, you might not be able to find it now that they've gotten rid of net neutrality. I don't know who had it, in their database where in the world they were, but I got it free. It's a big old book. It's called Codex Alimentarius or something like that. And in the book, they basically talk about how they want it to be. You wouldn't even be able to grow a rose if you wanted to. Because if there's something nutritional about whatever you're trying to grow or produce, they want to be in control. And they're also saying that what food should be at a certain point in time. I can't remember what year they said they want to achieve this by, but the ultimate goal is to make it where if you go to the grocery store, you buy food, whether it's broccoli, Doritos, whatever. You're buying food just for the purpose of satisfying your brain and that knowing that you've eaten, but it won't have any nutrients. You'll have to
Mm-hmm.
be prescribed the nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're talking about that whole Monsanto thing and whoever else with GMO and everything, where they're making it where food, you don't even know half the time if you're buying GMO because they don't mark it here. Like
Mm-hmm.
I cut into an apple that must have been like hella old. It looked new, but then it mushed as soon as I cut into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm like, this is an old ass apple. I was so mad. So not only can you buy food that you don't know how old it is or whatever, but if you've gone as far as to manipulate it to look like it's not spoiled, then you've taken something out too.
And that's very
That's
scary
my
because when GMO started, uh, they were required to mention that it's GMO. But now, indeed, I don't know about all places in Europe, but like you said, in America now, it's not required that they mention it, and that's just messed up, really. That's just messed up. And
these
if
people
people think, but
these people
yeah,
don't. I'm sorry. Like, yeah,
no, it's
like
okay. Go ahead. Sir.
they don't tell people when their water's contaminated. They got to find out from other people, you know, like all over America. It's not just Flint, like Washington, D.C. got lead real bad. So if they're not even going to tell people that, hey, the water in your tap is like, you shouldn't rock with that. You shouldn't use it at all. The food by no means is going to be labeled or made known to be unsafe because this is my philosophy. Like I said, I study. I study a lot of things, but I also study the conditions and the people who have made the conditions so I can try to counter it. And what I have learned about America is a corporation that was established to ensure the profitability and the livelihood, the longevity of corporations within itself, public and private. And I don't have no other way of putting that. It's like if you look at who can do what, who has authority, it's the corporations. And therefore, because the corporations' only reason to exist is to draw money up to the top of their leadership or their their proprietary owners and shareholders, whatever it takes to make that money, they're gonna do. And the United States is here to say, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that too,
You just want our
until
cut.
great harm is done. Huh?
Mm, yes.
Yeah, and it's not until a bunch of people die, or it's not until a bunch of people get sick, and then they start looking for what? Recourse and suing. Because really, again, a corporation that only cares about corporations making money, so at that point, then they'll be like, okay, well, maybe y'all can't. But then they turn around and let them do something else. And it's like, okay, so y'all just here on business, and they conduct the business a variety of ways, like unsafe stuff, racism, whatever. But it's all the same. They just literally, in my opinion, the people that established America just reestablished Europe with the people, the aristocracy and the this and the that at the top, ruling everything and running everything. And the people really don't have rights. They let them think they got rights, but they really don't. And it's to their detriment. And I'm like looking at it like all y'all did was recreate England and France over here. I'm not trying to put down France, but the people that they
Oh, that's
ran
fine. I
from
mean,
is the people they
I
turned
wouldn't
to
be
for
offended
leadership.
if you did. Yeah, I wouldn't be
Okay,
offended if you did. Yes.
okay, cool. Yeah, but I'm like, y'all ain't do nothing but let the same con artists, the same crazy people telling y'all eat cake when y'all didn't have that cake. Y'all just put them on thrones over here, but instead of a throne, you call it the presidency. You call it Congress. But I hope somebody else jumps on your live. I gotta
Mm.
go now, sadly.
I
It was
understand,
great
but
talking
thank you
to you.
very much for coming in. Thank you very much, sister.
Yeah.
It's very nice. And whenever you can, you are always welcome. But I will end the live anyway because there's nobody there. But maybe like wifey said,
Um.
it's because there was no notification. But we had a good discussion about health, and that's not something
Yeah.
that is talked about a lot. So thank you very much for that, and have a great
Yeah.
day. And I'm looking forward to hear from you again, sister. All right.
All right. All right. Hotep, tell your wife I say hello and the baby
She can hear
and
you. She's
everybody on the
listening to the
live.
live.
Y'all take care. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Hey, girl. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay, thank you, sister. All right, brothers and sisters. I'm glad that sister also mentioned the tap water. It's been years I don't drink tap water, and when you think about those things that were mentioned, um, the tobacco, alcohol, for some, the drug, the meat, the junk food, overall, GMO, and you have the tap water, which is not necessarily the best. I know some people argue that bottled water is not necessarily good either, but you have also the issue of fluoride because in America apparently the dosage of fluoride is way higher than other places, and you have also the fluoride in toothpaste. I mean, there's so many things. You have those things that will not necessarily harm you if you take it in small quantity, but when you take something over the course of your life, then eventually, even if the dosage is low, even if the dosage is low, it might end up affecting you. I think that if you think better, if you eat better, then you will think better, then you will act better. But anyway, brothers and sisters, thank you very much for tuning in. I will most likely do a live stream tomorrow. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will definitely holler back at you later. Hotel.